Today we will be talking about the Cortubations, which is intubations for patients with coronavirus. Number one, we're going to review the chart. We're going to make sure that we're not missing any allergies or not missing any unusual characteristics of the patient. We're going to call the intubation team. Intubation team is formed of a respiratory therapist, an RN, and another RN, and the attending. So nobody else will go in the room. Only 3 people that will go in the room, right? Only strictly 3 people, unless there is a very good situation or a very bad emergency. All right. There will be 1 RN outside the room that will help with running, getting stuff. But in general, only 3 people in the room to limit exposure. In general, for patients with COVID, we have low threshold to intubate these patients. Number one, we don't want to put them on a heated wire high flow nasal cannula because it will spread, there's a spread of the virus, and also the BiPAP also has the same issue. Nebulizers are not recommended, the inhalers are. So we have to keep all of that in mind, and that will probably force us to consider intubation much earlier than usual. Prepare all the equipment outside the room. So now we are called to intubate this patient. I'm assuming the patient door is closed, and this is a negative pressure room. The equipment that we need are, number one, we're gonna draw the medications. The medications with flushes. So we have etomidate, we have ephedrine, neosynephrine, propofol, succinylcholine, rocuronium or vecuronium. Okay, these are the medication, and we will have flushes with them, right? The next thing, we're gonna prepare an ambu bag. We're gonna prepare a PEEP valve, and we're gonna prepare also a filter. This filter is a bacterial and viral filter, 99.9%. Okay. Next, we're gonna also prepare oral airways that we don't have on the table here, but oral airways. We're gonna also prepare suction tubing and Yankauer, suction tubing and Yankauer, NG tube, the ultrasound machine, vent tubing. Obviously, the vent and the tubing are gonna come in. We're gonna have the PPEs, the N95 masks. This is the oral airway. We have the N95 mask and the hats. And we're gonna have gowns, and we're gonna have the shields. Okay, because we don't want to keep going back and forth in the room. This is not a usual intubation. We're gonna prepare also a lubricant for the NG tube, and also we're gonna have a central line and a Foley kit. And our nice respiratory therapist is bringing our gowns. So now we're ready to go. We're gonna wear our PPEs. The recommendation for dealing with the COVID-19 patients is to wear surgical masks for minute-to-minute, daily activities. But if you start having aerosolizing procedures like intubation or nebulization or bronchs, or which we try not to do as much as possible, or if the patient is on BiPAP or any of these aerosolizing procedures, then we will have to wear N95, just because the droplets, by definition, this spread by droplets will fall on surfaces. In about 20 minutes or so, everything is gonna settle down on surfaces. But during the procedure itself, they are up in the air, and they can actually go inside your masks and stuff like that. Our method of intubation is gonna be the glidoscope, so we have the glidoscope ready. And also, as a backup, we're gonna have the intubating LMA. What is the intubating LMA? And we're gonna have the crike ready.
I don't have one of of these? Do you want to put this on?
Oh, just one. Okay. So now we're ready. The first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna leave the ultrasound outside the room. It's gonna make it crowded, but we're gonna take all the equipment that we don't need out of the microscope racks here, because we really don't want to contaminate all these equipment. All right, we're gonna put them here. Okay, so we'll take the, assuming that the patient is hypoxic, the respiratory, and we're preparing all of this, obviously this will take, as you can see, 5 minutes or so. The respiratory therapist will go in the room. This is one scenario now. As we are preparing the patient, we will right? And what is she gonna do? Obviously, she's the only one in the room. Everybody's going to be watching from outside, and she will do whatever needs to be done for the patient. She has to be completely protected, obviously. She will put the patient on 15-liter nasal cannula, and if that doesn't work, then she will go on flush. She connected the nasal cannula. Patient is still hypoxic, so we're going to go on flush. Right? And she will be ready with her ambo bag if needed to ambo bag the patient if he doesn't respond to the oxygenation that she did until the equipment is ready and everybody's ready to come to the room. This should not take more than literally half a minute. Yeah?
Ambu. The other part of the ambu.
Oh, I don't know what it is.
Well, pretend it's there.
So pretend that there's a mask on the ambu, and we're gonna mask the patient. Notice that she put a filter on the ambu bag, and also she has the seat valve there, and she can ambu the patient throughout the procedure, throughout the minute or so until the rest of the team come in. Alright? If the patient is not hypoxic, then all of us will go in at the same time. So I'm going to bring the equipment, and one nurse is going to stay outside for to bring more equipment if needed. You're going to move the bed. And then the nurse in the room is going to be helping us with the medication and also helping holding the mask and assisting with suctioning. So once we come to the room, if we have the luxury of time, we will start preparing the equipment. And so let's look at the nurse outside, see if she's still there. We need the gyroscope. So open with the gyroscope. If the patient is not hypoxic, you really don't need to have all that oxygen. We're just going to go 15-liter nasal cannula. We're going to go 15-liter nasal cannula, right? All the rails have to be down. So we have access, and people who are assisting us will be able to assist us. Right? And we're going to do the Miss Madman Mnemonic, which is M is for machine, which is the vent supposed to be here. S is for suction. Let's get the suction. We have the suction and the suction tubing. M is for machine, S is for suction. The other M is for monitor, which you have the monitor and the pulse oximeter ready. The other A is for ambu bag with a feed valve and the equipment that is attached to it. And then the next is going to be so D is for drugs, which we have, and the other M is for method, another method that is available. We have the intubating LMA, which I don't know where it was lost. Intubating LMA and the crite. And in addition to all of this, the last one is nasal cannula. The N is for nasal cannula. That's it. So Miss Madman. Right? So we have the suction available. We have this. We have all the intubation stuff that we want. Now we gotta get the glyphoscope ready. We're gonna mount the glyphoscope quickly. Right, and we're ready. So now we're gonna ask for the medication. Depending on the patient's blood pressure, what we're gonna use, if the patient is hypotensive, we're gonna use etomidate and succinylcholine. We would have much lower threshold to intubate, to paralyze those patients before intubation more than usual, because we don't want them to cough, right? So we're gonna use the etomidate. You can give the etomidate and the sucks and flush them, and be ready with the neosynephrine stick and the ephedrine, just in case if the patient becomes hypotensive. Now, if the patient is not hypotensive, then you can use the propofol instead of etomidate. And once those are in, the nasal cannula will stay at 15 liters. But if the mask is with us here, what we're going to do, we're going to put the mask on the patient like this. The mask is going to go on the patient like this, where it will cover the nasal cannula, so it doesn't spew the secretions and the viral particles and all these things outside. So once the medication is in, as typical, this is not a video intended to teach the glyphoscope, but here's the glyphoscope, that's the picture, and then we put the endotracheal tube in. Somebody hold the stylus and push the endotracheal tube. So we're having difficulty intubating the patient, right? If we have difficulty, this is intubated. But if we have difficulty intubating the patient, no, we're not going to go through the whole airway algorithm. We got to go immediately to intubating LMA. If that doesn't work, then we are immediately going for a crite. This is the crite kit that we use, or you can use the open crite kit. Did I forget anything?
So we gotta make sure color change.
Of course, yeah, color change. And then before we leave the room, we need the ultrasound and the central line kit and the Foley kit. And the NG tube.
So we're doing all this stuff?
Well, we don't have to do it. We'll secure the tube.
Or the central line Foley kit.
We'll secure the tube like this, regular fashion. You don't have to secure it, obviously, now. And the next step is we will connect the suction. We will do the inline suction. Also, I need the NG tube, please. The NG tube, we can put it as a oral gastric or nasal gastric tube. And of course, we put the Foley and put the central line, because we don't want patients, we want to minimize the entry into the room for blood gases and for lab measurements and stuff like that, lab drawing and stuff like that. And that's it. Any additions? All right, thank you guys.